It is time to start digging in the redraft. We're going to talk about 15 players that you could potentially draft this offseason. We're going to use Underdog ADP, so we're also going to be talking about best ball throughout the video. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button right now, because we're going to go hard in the paint. We're going to get you ready for draft season. We're also helping you build your dynasty teams. We're going to get you ready for training camp with training camp clips every single day on this channel. This is the spot to be at. Click that button, stop missing out. But we're talking about 15 players today. We're going to go hot in the paint looking at redraft today, and we're going player by player, and we're going to do this almost every day here on out for the rest of the offseason. And who we're looking at today? We're looking at Cooper Kupp to start things off. He's valued as the wide receiver 22, round 3 pick, ADP 29 on Underdog Fantasy. And why we're using their ADP? Because people are dropping money on their site to draft players. And honestly, no one's drafting redraft right now, but we got to get early. We got to start looking at these players. We got to start looking at the advanced metrics. We got to start thinking for the short term. We got to start thinking about these players. That way, when it comes Labor Day weekend for a draft, you're good to go. Or if you're drafting on Underdog right now, you know who to go after, or you know your pivot points if you're playing in a portfolio. When I look at Cooper Kupp, though, I do not see the Triple Crown winner anymore. I do not see that, but I also see a guy here that can give you some boom weeks. We saw that last year. 4 wide receiver 1 weeks, 2 wide receiver 2 games, 7.9 targets per game, and a 25.6% target share. He's being valued as the wide receiver 22. Behind him, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Michael Pittman, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk is coming off the board. That being said, we are getting to a new tier here with the wide receivers. Some iffy wide receivers with some upside. What we're looking at here when we get to round 3. And you better feel good about the wide receiver position in your first couple rounds, because after this, it's going to start to drain out a little bit more. But when we look at Cooper Kupp, he's still getting targeted. He's still getting opportunity. He's just got to be healthy and on the field. He'll still provide you some boom weeks. Looking at Sam LaPorta, valued as the tight end 1 in Dynasty, valued as the tight end 1 on Underdog. When it comes to your home league drafts, he might be like tight end 2 or 3, considering he's a younger player. People may not be all in, but he might be the tight end 1. However, on Underdog, tight end 1, the market's buying in, getting drafted in round 3, ADP 35.7. Players after him, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, Trey McBride. I like McBride as well, but we're not going to talk about him today. But when I look at Sam LaPorta, he's getting a 20% target share. I do not see him going much lower than that for his floor and target share, but I could see it increasing maybe to 22% or so. He's getting enough air yards per game for a tight end. He's running a good route participation rate. I do not see any of these numbers dipping. Look at all the tight end 1 weeks last year. Way too many to count. This guy is productive. And considering he's playing the tight end spot, considering he could be a cheat code for your team, I would put him above some of the other wide receivers that are being drafted ahead of him. I think I would take him a little bit before ADP 35.7. I think he's a great stack option with Goff and company. Like, say you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you can easily get LaPorta, you can easily get Goff. If you're playing Underdog Best Ball, if you're playing Redraft, I think he could be a good Konami code for the tight end spot. The target share is going to be there. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown together are going to see 50% or more of the targets. Sam LaPorta safe. Good bet if you want to pay up for tight end. Devonta Smith, wide receiver 24, round 2 draft capital. And the value here, and when you look at his production last year, you're getting spike weeks, which is something you want. On top of that, the floor's pretty high. The floor's high. Last year, there are not very many games that you got a sour taste in your mouth. That being said, 22% target share, 7 targets a game. This team's moving the football. He's getting 84 air yards a game. That could increase. That could go up to 90 to over 100. We could see that. We could see him peak out. I think this is a great value for him, especially on a team that's ramping up. Wide receiver 24, round 2 draft capital. If you're looking for a trendy, safe wide receiver that can get you boom weeks, Devonta Smith could be the guy. 14.2 fantasy points per game. He put up a 26 spot, a 23 spot, a 22 spot, and a 23 spot last year. We could see some of that again this year. Kenneth Walker, RB16, round 6 draft capital. So he's going in the part of the draft where if you hammered wide receiver, which you should be to some extent in the start of your draft, you're looking to draft running back in the 6th, 7th, 8th round to start things off, to fill out that position. If you're going like a hero RB or a zero RB, he might be one of the first running backs you're looking at. You might find better values a little bit later. He does get nicked up. We saw that in the last couple years, but he can give you those RB1 performances. He's got 4.3 speed. He sees daylight. He's gone. He's getting a good opportunity share. Even with Zach Charbonnet there, 13.3 fantasy points per game last season. Not used much in the passing game, so that really kills his floor. Zach Charbonnet should be stealing some more of those targets out of the passing game. Round 6 draft capital, considering the upside due to his size-adjusted athleticism, is all right. And this is an area of the draft where wide receiver is really thinning out. And if you wanted to start taking stabs at running back, he's one of the first guys you're looking at. But Rashee Rice, wide receiver 41, round 6 draft capital in that range. Last year, 6.4 targets per game. But overall, you want to look at the last quarter or the last half of the season, that production. And the thing is, we know he might get suspended, and that's really dipping down his draft value. But overall, when you look at what he's doing at minicamp right now, he's looking very good. He's looking very sharp. It was noted that he's one of the top players at Chiefs minicamp. There's upside here. Volume could increase or stay the same, but look for him to maintain some production. Look for him to be a good value here at wide receiver 41. Of course, Marquise Hollywood Brown's there. He's going to soak up targets. They drafted Xavier Worthy, but once he's on the field again after the suspension, you're going to wish you drafted him, because round 6 is cheap for a Chiefs wide receiver that has proven to be productive. He has 3 20-plus point performances last year as a rookie. We're going into year 2, and he's looking good in the workouts. He's looking good at OTAs. He's looking good at minicamp. Rashee Rice, there's a value here if you're going cheap at wide receiver. But if you're looking at Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, RB11, round 4 draft capital. So if you want to go cheaper at running back, but still not get away from the top tier guys, Isaiah Pacheco could be your dude. Good size adjusted athleticism and a good offense. Can get you RB1 performances, can get you 20-point weeks. He could definitely do that. The offense is going to be humming, maybe humming more this year too, because we got more firepower at the wide receiver position. At round 4 draft capital, for some people that's a little bit too high because they want to go later at running back. But if you want to pay up a little bit but still get a couple wide receivers before you select running back, this might be your dude. I feel pretty safe with him considering his role with the team, considering his opportunity, considering his injury history. I feel like he's going to be on the field. There's nothing really to worry about here, and the price tag's very palatable. That's good to see, but if you want to go even cheaper, Zamir White, round 8. Round 8. What you don't like about him, he's not using the passing game too much, but he is forecasted to get a lot of touches. He was the guy when Josh Jacobs was out, and he's free, and he's cheap. He's going in the spot of the draft where people are hammering running backs. Just look at the board down there. People are hammering running backs. Pick your poison, but we know he's going to get a good opportunity share. Those last 4 games of the season, top 3 in the league in opportunity share. Top 5 in the league in opportunity share. Touches per game at the running back position. That's what you want out of your running backs. He'll get more opportunities to score touchdowns. He'll get more opportunities to run the ball. Even with Alexander Mattison there, he's going to start off as the guy. Round 8 draft capital is very cheap if you're looking for an RB2, or if you're going 0 RB and you're starting to draft running backs in round 8, maybe this is the guy you're looking at. But if you're still going wide receiver, it's round 3, you're shooting for some upside, you may be looking at Zay Flowers. Some of the wide receivers are zapped off the board. Things are starting to thin out. What we like about Zay Flowers, he's a young wide receiver. We're going into year 2. We had 4 wide receiver 1 weeks, 2 wide receiver 2 weeks, and then the down weeks. The bad games weren't that bad. We hit double digits on most of them, so he's not giving you too much of a sour taste in your mouth. while giving you some upside. We're going into year 2. We might be used more. Odell Beckham's gone. Nelson Aguilar might be used more. But Zay Flowers might come into a bigger role. As a rookie, we had a 24% target share. Our ADOT was very low, but he's got the speed to command a deep ball. We saw that at Boston College. He had a deep ADOT. If that increases and his target share stays around the same or even increases, we should see more fantasy points per game, where he got 13.4 last year. So if you're interested in him, round 3 draft capital, when wide receivers starting to thin out, that's something you may want to bet on. But Alvin Kamara, round 7 draft capital, PPR, half PPR, getting volume in the passing game, giving you a lot of RB1 weeks, even coming back after a suspension. That's something you want. If you're going 0 RB, you're looking to start off at running back around that range, around round 7 or so, could be a guy to look at. Getting work, getting opportunity. We know what we're getting. He's older though, but it doesn't matter that much in redraft. When it happens, but he's still being productive. Now we're looking at quarterback. CJ Stroud, QB6 off the board, round 6 ADP. A lot of people wait on the quarterback position, but if you're playing underdog, you're getting those stacks. You're getting Nico Collins, you're getting Diggs, you're getting Tank Dell, you're getting Mixon, you're getting that Texans stack. You know they're going to be moving the football. You know this is going to be a prolific offense. The players are moved around the board where it's obtainable to do. You can really mix around your strategies with the Texans in regular old redraft. If you're looking for a quarterback with an okay price tag, you don't want to pay too much for a quarterback, but you don't want to go too cheap, CJ Stroud might be your bet, considering QB6 off the board. That's a couple spots cheaper than Dynasty. ADP 66, round 6. Might be even a little bit cheaper in your league. Getting volume downfield. 300 air yards per game. Deep ball rate's good. 73.6 catchable pass rate. He can get volume, and he can give you upside. Multiple QB1 weeks last year. He was a QB1 last year. 22.1 points per game. CJ Stroud, QB6, good price tag. DK Metcalf. What do you think about him? He's a wild card. He is really good for best ball. You're sweating it out some weeks here when it comes to setting lineups. But one thing I do want to point out when looking at his scoring last year, his low point weeks, where technically there's a lot of them, a lot of wide receiver 3 weeks. However, they weren't bottom dwellers either, hitting over 10 points per game when you're looking at his wide receiver 3 performances. So he's not really going to fall on his face too much. Only 3 times last year if you're using 10 points as a threshold, but he's valued as wide receiver 27, round 3 draft capital. Again, he's going in a range where wide receiver is thinning out. Do you like him or DJ Moore? Do you like him or Cooper Kupp? I'm diversifying my portfolio a lot between these players, but if you had to shoot your shot, where are you going with this player? Because we are getting a deep average depth of target. We're getting a lot of air yards per game, over 20% target share. This is a guy that could hit big on you any given week, and we might see more this year. Joe Mixon, RB14. I think this is a great value because we're with the Texans now. This team's building. They're going to be even better this year. They should be, because your quarterback's going into his 2nd season. He added Stephon Diggs. Joe Mixon's a huge piece to the team here. Good in the passing game. Going to get targets. And at RB14, RB2 price tag in round 6. In round 6, you might be looking at trying to get him and Rashee White if you're on a turn. Round 5, round 6 turn, maybe you try to get that, stack that up at running back, slam wide receiver if possible. If it doesn't hit, you get one, and you keep working back on the running back position. That's a strategy I've been thinking about. I think that's a solid one that you could do. But again, Joe Mixon, round 6 draft capital right now. Tons of upside. Healthy on the field. You're looking at RB1 production. Why not? 15.7 points per game. A lot of opportunities here with the Texans. Rhamondre Stevenson. Not sexy. Not sexy. 2 years ago, top 3 among running backs and targets. Right now, falling down the draft board. Did not have a great season last year, but not as horrid as what you think. We were usable. We were functional. We did have 3 RB1 weeks. RB20 value. Super cheap. The method behind him is you got to be stacked at wide receiver, and now you're just picking apart some running backs, hoping you catch some value on the back nine of your draft, and then you play the matchups with your running backs. He's going to be getting some opportunity here. He got re-signed. He's going to get workload. He is used in the passing game, or at least he was. Should be getting used more. And at this price tag, if he bottoms out on you in round 7, it ain't going to kill you either. Tony Pollard, if you want to go even cheaper. We're with the Titans here. Round 9 draft capital. You can't get much cheaper than that. Him and Tyjae Spears, I imagine they're going to be splitting the workload a lot. I imagine Pollard's going to have some upside games due to that speed, due to him getting a lot of workload, due to him being a home run threat. And this is all on Will Levis, really. If Will Levis clicks, this team's going to click. They're going to move the football, and these running backs are going to be stellar. But he's a round 9 dart throw. Wide receiver should be zapped. Wide receiver should be done. There'll probably be a guy or two that exceeds expectations. This is where you're hammering running backs. Between the Titans running backs, you want to take the cheaper one. It's usually Tyjae Spears. But again, everybody's going to say that. But with Tony Pollard, we got speed to burn. We're explosive. If Will Levis hits, he could be explosive in the box score. Also, Tyjae Spears. David Montgomery. Not sexy, round 7 draft capital, getting opportunity, not the most prolific running back, but he's also still getting it done. He's averaging around 15.2 points per game if you exclude week 18, but he's also getting a lot of weeks here with over 10 PPR fantasy points per game. He's hitting that double-digit threshold, so he's not really bottoming out. He's not really tanking on you from week to week. He is hitting some upside here and there, but Jahmyr Gibbs is also tapping into the passing game, killing his floor, also killing his upside, but he's got touchdown upside as well. But you're looking at round 7 draft capital. Dirt cheap. If you're starting to draft running backs in this range, this is one of the running backs you're looking at. You're looking at him, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones. So there's some talent here in this part of the draft. I would fade running back, or at least go hero RB, draft a running back early, wait a bit, stack up a wide receiver, sprinkle in that tight end or so, then get you some running backs round 7, 8, 9, 10, stack up there, and hopefully you're good to go. But those are 15 players that we're looking at drafting here today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One, thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.